if I'm talking about having a presence, a brand is simply a powerful relationship fueled by a loyal belief system and connected to the principle of providing exceptional value. So whatever you do, if you are a writer, you must provide exceptional value. I think that Irama, as part of the curriculum of Beacons of Change or the fellowship program, I think that everyone must be challenged to write a book in their lifetime. I honestly think that it's impossible to be on this program, finish, and not be inspired to write. It starts with a book. I just helped a friend launch a book two weeks ago. And the interesting thing, it's almost painful because we didn't write that way. We wrote hard books. I mean, if I say hard books, we wrote the kind that you will sit down for months and think to write. This friend had been posting inspirational stuff on Instagram for years. So one day she sat down and just compiled everything she had posted on Instagram, put it together, launched it, and I can tell you the amounts that people were paying for her wisdom. I was like, no, this is not fair. This is not fair. So it's about providing exceptional value in what you do. And there's something called tangibilizing the intangible. Sometimes your value or the thing you do is not tangible. So writing books, writing blogs, posting your thoughts online puts a certain level of tangibility to that exceptional value that you are providing that is intangible. But it becomes a brand not just by providing the value, but also providing or building a certain loyal belief system of people who are consumers of your services, who then forge a powerful relationship with you. My favorite description of this emotional connection is my mother and myself walking on the corridor of the 37 military hospital, going to visit somebody who was on admission. And then she gets to a ward called the Ismon ward. And my mother stops at the door of the ward, holds her hat and says, "Oh, Ismon." So I asked myself, was Ismon a former boyfriend or something like that? I mean, why would she stop and hold her hat? And I asked her, who is he or who was he? And she says, he was the first philanthropic surgeon to conduct open heart surgery in Ghana years before Frimpong Boateng did it as a Ghanaian. He was the first to do it, and he was such a lover of humanity and saved so many lives. So she feels she owes him a debt of gratitude. So she can't pass the word without greeting him, even though the man has died and gone. And I was like, whoa, that's what they call emotional connection. So she actually stops at the ward, the door of the ward, and as it were, greets Dr. Ismon and continues. So I go on to the issue of emotional response and say branding is about exceptional value, but the personal brand is your personal identity stimulating a meaningful emotional response in others about what you stand for. This is where others speak for you even more than you can speak for yourself. I know that this is a Christian program, and so I'm going to make two Bible references, both of which refer to a reference made by two individuals. And the first one is Joseph. Joseph worked with two people in prison, the butler and the baker, and helped them to deal with the situation that was confronting them. It was an ability that he had right from his childhood, and he had used from probably his early teenage years or so. But here he was about 30 years old, and he had been in prison for possibly about 13 years. And he was using that same gift, but he had perfected the gift to the point where he was able to not just interpret a dream or have a dream, but give an economic and governance perspective, divinely inspired, of course. And so this man stands before Pharaoh, and Pharaoh has a problem, and he says, I know exactly the right person for you. So after solving the battle and the biggest problem, they recommend him to Pharaoh, and he moves from prison to the palace. But I'm talking about others being able to testify about you. The same thing happens with David, who is at the backside of the desert, and Saul says, I'm looking for somebody who's exceptional at playing the harp. And then somebody steps up and says, listen, I know the perfect person for this job. And does not just give one attribute, he gives 7 different attributes that could be used to describe the man David. In both of these instances, it is other people testifying about what you stand for. Now, how did they form that impression about you? And guess what? The New York University suggests that within 7 seconds of a person meeting you, they have made up their mind about you. And guess what they sometimes will say? In local language, you say, Ocran, she's a nice person. She's knowledgeable. He's confident. How? 7 seconds. How do they manage to make an impression within 7 seconds? But that is what the data suggests, that within 7 seconds, people are able to make a judgment about who you are and what they think you represent. Branding is a function of being excellent at what you do and then pushing on to generate value as an outcome, or as an added as an addition to being excellent at what you do, or as an outcome of being excellent, generating value. In the 2 biblical examples that I give, David went on to generate value for Saul, and then Joseph went on to generate exceptional value for Pharaoh. And that is what I meant by personal branding.